First Peter chapter 5, verses 6 and 7. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. And I already closed it in the NIV version, so that's all right. Y'all got the message, though. So that's the word of the Most High for the people of the Most High. Thanks be to the Most High. And may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in the sight of Source and the ancestors. So I got two topics tonight. The first topic I'm going to deal with is spiritual authority, which was inspired by the most recent Transformation Tuesday presented to you by the goddess Rael right here on Panoia Starseed Podcast. So if you did not catch Transformation Tuesday, make sure you go back and check that out. You know, she always brings the fire, that channel message. She don't even be knowing what she's saying in the moment. That's how the channeling be working, right? But the messages be clicking. And then she go back and she watched the replay. She like, oh, I said all of that? Yeah, you did, guys, Rael. You said that. So this message is inspired by that Transformation Tuesday channel on spiritual authority. And it's also inspired by the most recent introducing podcast by Smart Video Girl Rewriting Program, because she also mentioned authority a few times in that class, in that pod class. So what I'll be doing with spiritual authority is I'll be breaking it down from a numerological perspective, adding on to Rael's definition of spiritual authority that she received, divinely guided definition that she received. And I'll be also providing the physical along with the numerical vibration of spiritual authority. Now, there's a distinction between authority and spiritual authority. Authority carries a certain connotation, but it refers to the power to influence or command thought, opinion, and behavior. But the connotation of the word, when you hear the word authority, we think of someone that's in a position of power, someone that a lot of people might be intimidated by. Think about when someone is calling law enforcement or calling the police. Sometimes they might say, I'm calling the authorities. And then most people, they'd be like, oh, no, they're calling the authorities. Let's get out of here. No, there's only a handful of people who are real gangster, and they're like, man, I don't care if you call the authorities, if you call the po-po, go ahead and call them. I ain't scared of them. But most people, they hear authorities or authority, it's like, oh, it's almost like the boogeyman. Authority, like I said, law enforcement, it could be your boss. It could be anyone that's in a position of power or leadership. But spiritual authority, that adds an additional layer to it. When we talk about the spiritual realm, we're talking about the non-material and the non-physical. So it adds that layer of that non-physical, non-material authority to that physical meaning of authority. And that distinction we're also going to see that distinction within not only the goddess's Rael's definition of spiritual authority, but you're also going to see it in the numerical vibration of the word authority. And we're going to get to that distinction in just a moment. But to put together that physical definition of spiritual authority, just look, not getting into the numbers yet. spiritual authority, all that is it's the power to influence or command thought, opinion, or behavior in the non-physical realm. Just a simple physical definition of it. Rael, she gave you the spiritual definition of it. I'm getting ready to give you the numerical meaning of it. So I'm just going to be working through the Chaldean system of numerology, the older, more mystical system. And we'll look at spiritual and authority separately, and then we'll put them together. Spiritual in the Chaldean system adds up to the number 29. Now, 29 has a mostly negative meaning to it because it deals with deception, betrayal, and warning for future plans. But when you look at the compound meaning of it, the 2 and the 9, the 2 is that cooperative, healing, loving number 2, while it's next to that humanitarian, inspirational, and spiritual, artistic, creative leadership number 9 on the positive side. On the negative side, the number 2 can be cold, cruel, moody, indecisive, easily swayed by others. And the negative side of the number 9 is violent, impulsive, and fiery. So that's the compound. So I gave you the Chaldean meaning of the 29 with the deception and the betrayal, and I gave you the compound meaning of the 29 with that cooperative or that inspirational humanitarian partner. Now 2 plus 9 equals 11, and that's the master number 11. And we talked a lot about the 11 during the April show with the spiritual 411. But just to review the meaning of the master number 11 as it relates to the word spiritual, it's funny that the word spiritual vibrates to a meaning of spiritual awakening. So the master number 11 is about spiritual awakening, spiritual downloads, being a guiding light, a shining light for others, being the light of the world, like Jesus, the enlightener. It's connected to human compassion and understanding on the positive side. On the negative side, it's the number of deception and hidden danger. Again, same meaning as the 29. So the word spiritual with the numerical vibration is revealing to us that there is a duality to spiritual. The word spiritual and spiritual authority is showing us that just because someone or something is spiritual doesn't mean that they're good. You can be spiritual and be evil too. There's two sides of it. It's how are you using spirituality that determines whether it's for the good or it's for evil. Now, the word authority, that word adds up to a number 31. You got that 3 and a 1, so we'll deal with the compound meaning of it. But that 1 comes behind that 3, and oftentimes authority figures are people who hold leadership positions, and that number 1 is that number of leadership. It's that leadership number. And that number 3 that precedes it, it adds a taste of creativity and creative expression to the leadership. So someone who's an authority is someone who does or needs to express them, is a leader who needs to express themselves creatively, but they also need to have that stability and that organization and that grounding, which is the number 4. 3 + 1 = 4. So authority is one who leads using creative means, but they also must be stable, organized, balanced, and grounded. And the negative side of that 31, 4 is with that 3 in front. The negative side of that number 3 is gossip and self-righteousness. And the negative side of the number 1 with that leadership energy is being a poor leader, a leader who becomes bossy and oppressive. And the negative side of the number 4 is the number 4 energy attracts secret enemies. And being in a position of authority, that can be very common to attract secret enemies and to be stubborn, to be narrow-minded, and to be destructive. So that's the duality of the numbers, Starseed. Spiritual isn't good or bad. Authority isn't good or bad. Spiritual authority, it can be good or bad depending on how you use it. Like you have to, like the goddess said on Tuesday, spiritual authority is bestowed on you from the divine, and you had to have integrity, you had to be trustworthy in order to receive spiritual authority. But once you get the spiritual authority, you can still choose to use it in this proper way or to choose not to use it in this proper way. It all depends on the person that possesses it. But now when we put spiritual authority together and we add the 29 and the 31 to get the sum, that adds up to the number 60. And here is where the numbers reinforce the understanding of the appearance of a spiritual authority. The goddess Rael told us on Tuesday that spiritual authority has a very unassuming appearance, and that people with spiritual authorities, they're often the ones who are the most mistreated. That's in stark difference to the physical meaning of authority without the spiritual. Like I said, authority figures oftentimes look intimidating, but someone with spiritual authority doesn't necessarily look intimidating like the police, like a politician, like your boss at your job. So that the vibration of the word spiritual authority supports or reinforces the divine definition that the goddess Rael shared with us on Tuesday. But now let's talk about the number 60. Now that we put spiritual authority together to get the full sum total of the two words. And I'm going to read the one meaning of the number 60. And I'm emphasizing that I'm reading this and that it comes from a book, just so you know I'm not making this up. And I can show you the book that it comes from too. As a matter of fact, I could read it directly from the book just to show you that I'm not making this up. Can't make this shit up, right? So the number 60. And I'm going to show it to you. I don't know if it's going to show up because I got this virtual background. But hey, if you don't believe me, I'll send you a picture of it. But this is what is said about the number 60. 60 is happy and cooperative with authority, making it a good caretaker, therapist, or lawyer. On the lower vibration, 60 is disobedient. Now, if you don't believe that the word authority is in this book for the number 60, like I said, I'll take a picture of it and send it to you. I have no problem doing that. Literally, Adonis can't make this up. Real time. Now let's deal with each part of that because it relates to the meaning of spiritual authority. The first part says happy and cooperative with authority. Now, yes, someone with spiritual authority has authority. They have power to influence others or command the thoughts and actions of others. But you may be a spiritual authority, but you are not the authority. You are not the divine or the most high. Yes, we all have power, but there is that power that is above us. And that the divine has authority over us. So having spiritual authority means you have great power and great responsibility, but you still answer to something greater than you. And you cooperate with that force that is greater than you. And you are happy to cooperate with that force that's greater than you. I mean, you could try not to cooperate and not to be happy with that force greater than you, but that ain't going to end out too well for you. It's also said that the number 60 is a great caretaker. Someone with spiritual authority fulfills the duty of healing others, teaching others, helping others, uplifting fallen humanity, to quote the mission of Mawu Lisa Temple. So someone with spiritual authority is the caretaker of others. But like I just said, there's an authority greater than us. So just as we take care of others, divine takes care of us. And I think the goddess mentioned that, maybe not in the same words, but she said that she's divinely protected, by divine. And that speaks to that. So there's no need for you to worry. That's why I chose that 1 Peter chapter 5 verse, alluding to the meaning of the number 60. 1 Peter, cast your cares upon he that cares for you. Now, the negative side of the number 60, it says that the number 60 is disobedient. Now, divine gives you spiritual authority, but if you choose to go against divine's instructions, once you have that authority and you don't listen, you're being disobedient. Again, with great power comes great responsibility. And that 0 behind the 6, it adds potential and intensity to the single digit number 6. So 6 plus 0 equals 6. And 6 is that number of duty and responsibility, which we talked about last month as well with the spiritual 411, because 411 adds up to 6. And I was telling you all last month that when you're calling that spiritual phone line, that spiritual 411 line, to receive your downloads and your messages, once you receive those downloads, you have to use that information and those downloads responsibly. You have a duty and a moral responsibility to use that information in this proper way. And in like manner, you have to use your spiritual authority in the proper way, with a sense of morality and a sense of responsibility. The number 6, like I said in the video, in the May video about the number 15/6, that number 6 is one of those midpoint numbers representing balance, the balance of the scales of justice in perfect balance and equality. So having spiritual authority is having a sense of right and wrong. I'm asking morality, Ma Wu Ru. I'm asking morality. So this is all confirmation for you, star seeds. You already got the message, but the numerology is just showing you the alignment. And it's not that we need the confirmation. We just love the confirmation. We just love that confirmation. So that spiritual authority, 15-6 is the life path. We've been talking about that 15-6 a lot these past several weeks. So I'm gonna get into my second and final topic now. That's the meaning of mother from a numerological perspective. And the reason that I'm doing that, of course, I have my reason, but the goddess Rael for Pranoia this month, May is the month for the mother. She has her own more personal reason that May is the month for mother. I'm thinking May is the month of mother because in a week from today, it will be Mother's Day, next weekend, Mother's Day weekend. And of course, if you've been following Pranoia Starseed podcast, you're a starseed, you know that we never wait to acknowledge or wait for a man-made holiday to acknowledge our mothers, our fathers, or nature, to honor those individuals and those things. But since the masses will be on that energy next weekend, why not leverage it by dealing with the numerical vibration of the word mother? Yes, all month, not just one weekend, not just one day, all month and year round too. It's like they say about Black History 365, honoring the mother 365. But Mother's Day falls on May 10th, so we'll deal with the numerics of May 10th, and then I'll break down the word mother. Now, Mother's Day always falls on the second Sunday of May, and this second Sunday of May happens to be the 10th. And what's so special about the number 10? 1 plus 0 equals 1. Number 1 is the number of creation. It is the seed planting number. When I talk about numerical cycles from 1 to 9, 1 universal year, 1 personal year, the number 1 cycle is about planting seeds. And isn't that what the mother does? The mother creates, the mother plants a seed, and 9 months later, that seed is fully bloomed. So that's very much in alignment that Mother's Day falls on a day that adds up to a 1. And then when we look at the universal energy, May 10th, 2026, added up all together, Mother's Day falls on a 7 universal day. And 7 is a feminine number connected to the element of water. 7 is an intuitive number. And we know that the mother is probably the most intuitive being in the universe. Of course, women already are intuitive, but to be a woman and a mother, you got intuition times 10 right there. and of course, both men and women are intuitive, but man, that mother's intuition is the most powerful and the sharpest intuition you will ever know. My mom been celebrating her B-Day since the doors of May opened. Tauruses love to celebrate all month. Yes, they do. And Taurus is number 6 energy too. Now, so that's the energy of the day. 1 calendar day, 7 universal day, 1 for creation, 7 for intuition. and the element of water, and that feminine number. Now, when we look at the vibration of mother, and we add up the letters MOTHER in the Chaldean system, just dealing with the Chaldean system for brevity and for clarity. In the Chaldean system, it adds up to the number 27 as a double-digit number, and the number 9 as a single-digit number. So here are the meanings of the number 27 that apply to the mother. Autonomous thoughts and actions, generous and freely giving to others, a lover of art, peace, beauty, and integrity. The number 27 is the number of the scepter, which is the number of authority, strength, and dominance. The number 27 follows its own mind rather than other people's ideas. Now, as those are the general meanings of the 27, these are also the meanings that apply to the mother. Now, looking at the compound meaning of the number, of the word, of the number 27, the word mother, 27, is made up of 2 water numbers in the 2 sides of the moon. 2 is a water number, 7 is a water number. 2 is a feminine number, 7 is a feminine number. In the supreme mathematics, 2 is wisdom. Wisdom is symbolic of the Black woman. Wisdom is also the meaning of Sophia. When you go over to the Gnostic text, wisdom is a woman. 2 and 7 as moon numbers. 1 represents the new moon, 1 represents the full moon. And we know about the deep connection between women, feminine energy, and water, women, feminine energy, and the moon. Matter of fact, the moon and water is connected. It's the gravitational pull of the moon that pulls on the ocean and makes the tides and all of that in the ocean. Moon phases are connected to the menstrual cycle. There's the moon and the woman again, the moon and the mother again. And then when you add 2 and 7 together, it equals 9. And 9 in the supreme mathematics, that's born. And the woman or the mother that carries that child for 9 months. And at 9 months, she gives birth, born. And the 2 and the 7, that's like the feminine and the masculine energy coming together. The 2 of the woman representing wisdom, 7 is God and woman coming together to give birth, born, 9. Wisdom, Sophia, and mother are all 6 letters too. Wow, I didn't even notice that. Wow. A lot of 6 energies so far in season 6 of Pranoia. And we didn't plan this. We definitely did not plan this. That's just how it's all lining up. That's how it's all lining up. But born means to, when you're giving birth or making something born, you're bringing something into existence. And of course, the mother gives physical birth, but the mother also gives mental and spiritual birth too. So born and birth across the board. And I mentioned, given the daily mathematics, that 9 is the universal day for tomorrow. I mean, it's still tomorrow, right? We ain't crossed over yet. Yeah, we ain't crossed over yet. So I can still say tomorrow. Yeah, 9 is a universal day. And I mentioned about that 9 that it's a creative number. It's an artistic number. And the greatest creation that the feminine creates and makes is life. So it's just re-emphasizing the creative aspect. The vibration of the word mother is just re-emphasizing the creative aspect. I'm running out. You're running out. You might have to get like them, like them new school students and pull out the tape recorder. But just to go over some meanings of the 9, now that we looked at the compound meaning of 27, we're going to add 2 and 7 for 9 to give the meaning of mother from a numerical perspective with the number 9. So here's some meanings of the number 9, along with, of course, carrying a child for 9 months. But that number 9 is a humanitarian number. The mother gives of herself without expecting anything in return, oftentimes. And the number 9 calls for, like if you have the number 9 in your name or your birthday, it calls for you to give of yourself without expecting anything in return. And when you give of yourself without expecting anything in return, you're rewarded cosmically. Under that number 9 energy, the mother inspires, motivates, and leads. And at its core, with that 2 and 7, the mother is made up of water, but there is a duality with water. Water can be a gentle stream, or water can be it could be a rushing, violent river or flood. And I believe that speaks to a couple of things. It depends on your perspective. It can speak to a good mother versus a not so good mother, or it can speak to the consequences of harming a mother's children. Yes, mothers are very soft, very sweet, very gentle, but they don't play about their children. So those gentle waters can become real violent if you get on a mother's bad side. And that's the same thing with the number 9 when we add that 2 and 7 together. The number 9 has its duality too. Like I mentioned, the positive side of the number 9 is that humanitarian, that inspirational, that motivational, that creative energy. But on the challenging side of that number 9 is ruled by the planet Mars, that planet of war. So that mother will become a warrior for her children if her back is against the wall, right? If her children's lives are being threatened, or if she's ensuring the survival of her children during challenging times, she will become that warrior. So if you harm or threaten a mother's child, she will burn you, because that number 9 is that fire number. So let's summarize. We're going to summarize the 2 topics that we touched on tonight. Spiritual authority is the power to influence or command thought, opinion, and behavior in the non-physical realm. But this power is given by divine, and it comes with great responsibility, and it must be used in a moral way. Even though spiritual authority grants you power, we must still obey universal laws and the authority of the divine. The mother is also an authority as the creator of life. The mother is nurturing, loving, inspirational. She holds power and dominance. She's selfless. She's beautiful. She's peaceful. She's intuitive. But if you harm her children, or if her babies need to survive, she becomes a warrior. So that is the numerical perspective of spiritual authority and the mother to kick off the month of May, the month of the mother. Peace and love, peace and blessings, star seeds.